Welcome back. Now, just before the break, we were making a comparison of education systems in the UK, US and Pakistan and what they produce as a result. And we had sort of reached the conclusion that in Pakistan, the disparities are very stark, given the different types of schools within the private sector, as well as the dismal state of the public sector schools. We have 4 or 5 different tiers of schools in Pakistan, and we now want to look at some of the solutions here. And just before the break, Dr. Iqbal was talking about the language factor, which is also giving rise to the differences and discrepancies and creating either elite, the haves and the have-nots. Now, moving on from there, we want to talk a little bit about the government policy as well. We've had, you spoke about, the fact that, Andy, that government policies are never consistent, etc.
Absolutely.
But tell me if they're as inconsistent as what we have, because we feel we're the victims of the system here, in the sense that in 1979, General Ziaul Haq's time, suddenly there was a proclamation without any discourse or thought that all English medium schools will be now carrying out their education and exams in Urdu. Right. And then 10 years later, it was the exact opposite. And in Musharraf's time, very recently, the diktat was that English has to be taught from grade 1. So policies have been vacillating wildly.
Yes.
And some policy papers, policy of national education policy, looks good on paper, but I don't know if we have seen any results.
Yes.
What do you say to that?
Yes, you are right. I mean, concerning this policy, you are right that in 1989, all the public sector exams, they were to be conducted in Urdu. But before the approaching 1989, the policy was changed and English medium was allowed to flourish. And now the policy is that not only English is compulsory from grade 1, which I think it's not a big issue, because English being lingua franca may be taught as a language, as a strong element of language, other functional language. But the irony is that the decision has been made to adopt English as a medium of instruction to teach math and science from grade 1, which has become basically
but do we have the teachers? Do we have trained teachers to do that?
That's the real question. The teacher, they are not competent enough, they are not proficient enough to teach English, to teach mathematics and science in English, because for them it is a foreign language and they do not know the English as such a facilitation level that they can use it as a medium and to converse with the students and to communicate with them so fluently and so in an articulated manner to teach such a different kind of subjects.
So what's the solution then? I mean, in your view and in your view, what would be the solution? Because there is the basic problem is that the English medium instruction gives power to those and gives economic opportunities to those obviously who get English medium instruction. To the others it doesn't. However, we do not have the resources, the trained teachers to provide schooling in the English medium. What do you think would be the solutions to bring more parity to the education system in Pakistan?
May I say, ideally, it would have to be more resources into the teacher training, so that more teachers, as they come into the schools, had an opportunity to improve their English as well as the quality of their teaching. We don't have this problem in England because we have the other problem, which is we have many immigrants joining the country from all over the world, and the attempt in England is to give them some entitlement to their own language of instruction and to English, because as my colleague said, they will pick up English mostly through natural discourse. So it's the opposite problem in England.
You would favor, over time, instruction in English and putting more resources into it to be able to get trained teachers to provide English language instruction to offer the economic opportunities. Now, that's one view. The other view is, as you would agree probably, the people who propagate more instruction in the mother tongue. The United Nations says so, several scholars say so, that Urdu is more closely linked to the cultural values. It is also, it provides more rapid literacy rate increases. It improves the quality of education. It allows teachers to be more creative because it's their mother tongue, and it allows the talented students to perform better because otherwise they get shut out when they don't know enough English. Where is the solution?
Yes, about 2 weeks back, there was a seminar under the auspices of the British Council in the Kennett College. And the British Council has prepared a very detailed report about the language policy of the government of Pakistan since the colonial period and up till now. And there was a consensus among all the participants in the conference that English should be used as a language, maybe from grade 1, as a very strong component of just as a language, not as a medium of instruction, because people in Pakistan, they have confused the knowledge with the language. Language is just a vehicle to communicate the ideas, to communicate with the kids. So if we are teaching students in our own native language, it is easier for them to make comprehension, to understand the topic, to understand the concept, and to communicate with the teacher. And if we are using if English as a medium of instruction, it is very difficult for the students to communicate with the teachers and also teachers to communicate with the students.
That's the other side of the coin.
Yeah.
Dennis, your views on this? I mean, we want to eliminate, to begin with, the disparity being created because of this one factor. Of course, there are disparities introduced because of the other factors that we just discussed, but because of language, it introduces distortions into personality, into complex, into opportunities available. Your thoughts on it, please?
I was head of our English as a second language program at Hiram College for students coming in. And there's no question that if you have a government policy that says you must instruct in a language and you don't have people who can instruct in that language, that you're putting everyone at a disadvantage. You're putting the teachers at a disadvantage and the students at a disadvantage. Although the goal may be, and I think rightly so, in my own area of math and science, to move towards English language instruction, that may have to take place over time as we put more resources into improvement of instruction, and that's not only in English, but also into the methodology of instruction, which has changed dramatically, especially in the fields of math and science.
Well, when you talk about methodology, I mean, I think there is curricula involved, teaching methods involved, and other resources. And I think a large number of schools here do not have access to anything which was not produced more than 50 years ago.
It's even simple. It's that right now I go out and I teach science, and people are saying, oh, what you have to do is cover a certain number of topics. And the National Science Foundation in the United States has said, forget coverage. If you cover 1/3 as much of the information, you're going to help your students more if you